Welcome to ProjectME, the podcast. I'm your host, Tiffany Carter, the founder of ProjectME, multimillionaire entrepreneur, former TV newscaster, money-making expert, female empowerment speaker, and self-proclaimed office supply addict. My mission is to take the mystery out of making big money. Every week on ProjectME, the podcast, I'll share success tips, strategies, and stories from other entrepreneurs, experts, and millionaires, showing you exactly how you can achieve your most exceptional life. Now let's get to it. Exciting announcement for all of my listeners. I've officially opened my exclusive group, the ProjectME Passive Income Posse, to the public. This group is by application only, so we can keep the group high vibe and spend our time, energy, and expertise only helping those of you who truly want massive success and impact. You get live weekly trainings from me, special guest coaches, and direct access to me and my business partner for all of your questions. To learn more and apply, go to projectmewithtiffany.com, click on Work With Me, and select ProjectME Posse. And of course, any questions, feel free to DM me at ProjectME with Tiffany. Welcome to the podcast and posse, ProjectME with Tiffany Carter. I'm your host, Tiffany, and you guys asked for this episode, and so I'm delivering it as per usual. So I know so many of you see online, oh, I get all these leads and I make all this money and it's all organic, meaning they technically are saying they've not used any paid advertising to get it. And there's a lot of people bragging about it. I always scratch my head because it's like, why is that something to brag about? I don't understand. You're putting in so much effort and time and energy in order to build things just organically. Wouldn't you like to spend even $20 a day, $25 a day, and you have something else building amazing leads and booking calls for you and making sales for you while you're doing your other stuff? Like, we're all about like making this shit easy for you guys and making a lot of money doing it. So I brought on Danielle Clem. She is an Instagram and Facebook ads expert and a funnel strategist. She has a similar personality to me, which you guys know I only bring guests on who like are going to just spill the beans because we don't have time for anything else. So I'm excited for her to answer a lot of your questions that you guys gave me. I did a poll, and so I always make sure I write those down and incorporate those as well. So you guys are going to probably hear your own questions being asked today. What's up, girl?
Hey, I'm so glad to be here and talking all about ads and all things when it comes to getting client leads and all the amazing sales fun stuff.
So before we go into like the strategy stuff, which I know like anyone who's clicked on this episode's like, I want to get to it. I want to know how to make money and book client calls now and I'm not having to actually be involved. Don't worry, we're going to get there. But we have another human here. So we want to know what you're all about and your story. And, you know, because of course, Mercury retrograde strikes again, we didn't get your bio with, you know, a few days prior to doing the interview. So she just sent it to me live and I was like, oh my God, you have a major story. So I want to hear about it. Like, please share the story that I'm referring to and what that has done to shape your life.
Yeah, this is a great part because I told Tiffany already. I always forget to tell my story because it's something that I share so often. I'll forget every once in a while. But what happened was when I was young, and I think all girls feel this way, our main influences in life are our moms or our dads. And for me, mine was my mom mainly. You know, I grew up with her. She took me everywhere. I was like her mini me. We were great friends and, you know, everything in that. The thing was, though, you know, around age 4, she got diagnosed with breast cancer, and it was the first time happening. And it was a very shock for a lot of people because she was, I think at that time, only 38, late 30s, which was a very young age for people to get diagnosed with cancer. So what happened was she went through her first round, she was fine, then got second round. Second round of cancer for breast cancer came back. And, you know, she was able to fight off again. And then around age 9, the third round of cancer hit. And unfortunately, that was too hard for her body to take, and she actually passed away when I was 9. And when you have that kind of big loss early on in life, you really have to change the way you look at things. So I started after, age 9 to really see the world in a way that was, how can I make this world better? Because we just lost someone who was one of the most amazing people in my life, at least. So I kind of, even at a young age, knew that I wanted to help people and help them in some way, just not sure how. And then fast forward a couple years, and my dad remarried to my stepmom, who became my second most influential person in my life. She was amazing. She was like a raw vegan, a marathon runner, a like AT&T project manager. She was amazing. She was kind of like the first person I knew who was multi-passionate, because I came from a family who was real estate agents and brokers. So I had entrepreneurs in my blood, but to see someone who was multi-passionate was really great. And we developed a really amazing bond, and I would call her mom and all that kind of fun stuff. And then around age 17, when I was my last year of high school, she got diagnosed with AML leukemia. And this was right after her 50th year. We did a celebration of her. She called her year jubilee. And then 2 weeks later, she got her blood results back and was diagnosed. So yeah, within 3 months, she passed away, and I was her caregiver through it. So I was there each and every day trying to help her. And it was one of those things where, again, before I even graduated high school, I had 2 severe losses happen in my life. And when you have that happen, it's hard to not kind of change your life in some way. And there's either 2 routes you can go: the route of really going decline, going very self-destructive, or the way of going, how can I make my life as fulfilling as possible as my moms would have wanted me to? So I chose the second.
Wow. I mean, I have the chills. I lost my father right before my 25th birthday, and from diagnosis to death, it was 6 weeks. So I could relate when you said 3 months. I mean, that's incredibly, incredibly fast. How did this, besides the obvious, but how did this affect your father?
Yeah, he has been a real estate broker, real estate agent for the last 30 years, and probably one of the best in my hometown. So for him, and again, this is just how his personality is and somewhat of mine, is to work more, to succeed more, to put all your heart and soul into your work, because, he loves what he does. That's 100% the truth. So for him, I think that's where he really did it. And he's also, he's a Christian, so he really dove in deeper to God and religion and so forth. So he really leaned on those 2 areas, especially. I mean, it's hard when you have those 2 things happen to you in such a small part of your life that, they were my mom, but they were his wives. So I can completely see how, again, everyone's coping is so different, but mainly for him, he's like, if I'm going to be here and, try and make it up to my wives, or even, for me, try and work more and succeed more. And his way of seeing it is, because he sells homes, he's helping another person to kind of make their life better or change their life in a positive way. So that's kind of how he went.
Why am I getting the feeling you're an only child?
Because you're right. The only thing is, my stepmom had a son. So I have a stepbrother who actually just married a month ago, actually, who I was in the wedding for. So he came into our lives around when I was 11 or 13. So he's been in my life for, I don't know. I feel I'm so bad at math, like 10 years or so. And
I'm horrible at math, except counting money.
Exactly. That's what you need. So yeah, for him, he's been in there since I was 11 or 12. So before that I was just an only child.
Yeah, I'm an only child. That's why I picked up on that. So, yeah, and also you said that you were like the main, caregiver for your stepmom, and that's on a whole nother level. So did going through this, I mean, obviously you're also are raised by a successful entrepreneur. I mean, when you're a real estate broker or you're a real estate agent, that's your own business. No one's giving you a salary for that shit. So you already saw that, you could have success doing it, but your dad is probably similar to how I used to be. That was my coping skill too. And I tend to do that now. I have to be careful because it can cause burnout and cause 100%. Me like other health issues. But did it make you go, I'm not going to just do something that I know I could make money at, that I'm good at? Did it make you go, no, I'm only going to focus my career on something I love because life is short?
100%. And I even have a story about this because I was going to college for, after high school and so forth. And I was a double major in business because overachievers. And what happened was the last semester of college for me, I was 2 classes away from getting both degrees. And it was like a business management degree and an HR degree. And I had 2 classes left, which was supposed to be, I think, accounting and some other, business class.
Ew, more math.
Literally. So I went into the first class that was accounting, and I walked out actually halfway through the class, and I sat on the bench and I cried because I knew that this was not worth it for me. I knew that if I, finished both of these degrees and if I finished the way that I was quote unquote supposed to go, I could not be in a corporation. Like, I made it so before I even started my business, I was a Lyft driver, I was a Starbucks barista. Like, I did everything except to not have a 9 to 5. So for me, I felt that within my bones, and I, told my dad, because he's always been a supporter of me. I'm like, hey, I'm sorry, I can't go into corporations. I can't do 9 to 5s. Like, even though I still got a degree, it's not what I want to do. And he was so super supportive because obviously, like you said, he understands where I was coming from. So it was definitely that big part of, I never in any dream that I had was I ever going to be in a corporation I hate fluorescent lights. I hate pencil skirts. They're not my thing. So I could never do it.
I love you. We're both sitting here, by the way, like no makeup. And I can tell you, I probably do need a shower. Just saying.
Yeah, same.
So that's so awesome that your dad, probably also as a result, not just from his background, in business, but with a result of the tragedies that happened, last thing he wanted to see is you pursue something or be in something that would suck your soul. I mean, we don't know how long we have here, right?
We don't. And he was very adamant about that. He's like, as long as you do something that you're happy and that makes you also secure, you're fine. Like, he's obviously wants to make sure that I'm financially okay because he's still a dad. He still wants me to be taken care of. But he wants, to make sure that what I'm doing is what I actually enjoy. And we've had conversations about that, making sure that, what I choose is not just because, of what I think he wants, but it's more so of what I wanted. And that was a lot of that year after the college, was making sure that I kind of deconditioned myself from a lot of that. What do I want versus what do I think other people want from me?
I love that you had the room and space for that. And it's a beautiful gift. You got that. I mean, that's the absolute opposite of what I had and the absolute opposite of what, most people had. You had a more evolved, so to speak, parent guiding you. And that's, like, in my opinion, that comes from the divine for you to be set up to probably have more success more quickly and earlier on, which is a beautiful thing because then you can help more people.
Yeah, I got very lucky in that scenario. And like you said, I think there is that dichotomy of, losing too many people, losing that pain and that tragedy, but also having someone on your side who's still here, who's supportive of you. Because, if I was had a combination of the losses plus an unsupportive person, oh my gosh.
Yeah, God, that the line, I don't know if you believe in God. I know you said your dad does, but universe or whatever, but it's like, you're only given what you can handle. Now, when people would tell me that, because I've gone through a lot of tragedy in my life, I'd be like, fuck you.
100%.
But in a sense, it's like there is someone watching out for you because you couldn't have done like an unsupportive father and a corporate job with like pencil skirts. That's just would have put you over the edge.
100%. And like you said, I really believe in that. I always believe too, even with the losses, everything happens for a reason. We might not know what it is, but I believe something, the reason why this happened, there is some form of it. And that's always been a huge place for me, is because I try and remember that, I'm only given what I can handle. And thankfully it was enough to what I could manage. And I had enough of, like you said, an evolved relationship and actually in more self-awareness to know that I can choose what I want. And since I have some form of like at least emotional support from someone, it helps so much easier to start a business or even just start choosing steps you actually want versus, going down a more destructive path.
So of all the things you could have picked, because this was left very open for you and you had the support, right? So you could have picked anything, as long as I can imagine. I'm like embodying your dad. It's like, as long as it wasn't something bizarre, like I'm going to go make like seashell necklaces in Bali. And he'd be like,
Yes.
no. As long as, it was something that you could actually grow, that it's a business. So it could have been anything. So why, Instagram and Facebook ads?
Yeah, so my business definitely didn't start out that way. Again, I think everyone for business, you always you have a lot of different detours or pivots or positioning and all this kind of thing. So I actually started out my business as a website designer because I've always kind of loved the aesthetic parts of things, whether it be graphics and so forth. So I started to do websites for a couple local businesses here. And what happened was I would do a couple of them and I realized that I'm basically just creating an online billboard for them. I'm not actually helping them get more clients, more sales, because, although websites are good, they really are. However, if you don't have a strategy for how to get people from your website either into your store or onto a list, it's just like sitting there. It's literally a billboard at that point. And that kind of started the conversation for myself to say, okay, what can I do to change this for my clients to make it so they actually get more than just a pretty picture, more than just, some like fancy website. So that's when I went into email marketing. That's when I went into social media marketing and kind of like evolved from there. And after a good amount of detours from between those, I finally kind of stumbled upon, after my first coach, she actually knew ads and she taught me them. So I was like, oh, these are really interesting. They're really fun. And I picked them up pretty quickly. So I started to just kind of incorporate ads more and talk about them and do them for myself and for clients. And I realized, oh, wow, you can get a really good result if you know what you're doing. And that's kind of where this kind of positioned me now, because as you already know, with Facebook and Instagram and a lot of social media platforms, their organic reach is going down the crap hole. So, it's one of those things where I had to be aware and say, okay, how can we really change how we're going about this? That's not just organic, because although organic's great, you can't always bet your, bet your monthly income on it, because it's not super repeatable. So that's when I went into the ads and kind of built it more and more and more so. So I help a lot of my clients and students to do this for themselves, because I believe with ads, it's not just about, getting more people on your email list or getting more followers. It's about actually getting clients and sales, if that's what you want them for in the first place.
Oh, hell yeah. Do you guys see why I have her on? Because it's like, we want cash because we're not running, right? Last time I checked, this isn't a charity, you guys who are listening. You're not running a charity. The more money you make, the more people you help, the more things you can do. This is what we want. So I find it so interesting how many people, I've definitely coached in the thousands of people at this point, and how many people are terrified of Facebook and Instagram ads. I think it is two things. One, it's their business platform is scary. It looks like an Excel spreadsheet, which scares most people. And two, you're actually spending, hard cash, and you're playing with it. So I'm like, you are gambling. There is no guarantee. So how do you handle it and set expectations with clients of yours about what kind of results they can get? If it was as simple as, Tiffany, you spend $100 a day and you're going to make 200 back, I would take out a loan right now for you. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and that's actually a great point. And I think you're going to love this, because when it comes to people who are afraid of ads, I kind of see it as one of two things. They're afraid of obviously losing money, but they're also afraid of failing. Because when you think about it, I've had this happen before. People come to me and they have ads that they try to do before, either on their own, or they try to hire a VA to makeshift do it, which is just super wrong.
Wrong.
Exactly. And they'd come to me and say, why is this not working? And then they get this skepticism about ads, when the real thing was, one, they didn't have a strategy for it when it comes to how, not only just how does it look, but who are you targeting? Where are you taking them afterwards? That's my big thing around ads. It's not just about putting up a pretty graphic and choosing the right target audience. Where are you taking them to next, and what are you saying to make them take action? That's my big thing that I had to figure out for myself when I first did ads on my own. It's I'm getting good results when it comes to the numbers, but no one's actually getting a call booked on my email list. What's going on? And I realized it's because what I was saying wasn't getting them to take action. Like, even though it was pretty, they signed up for it. What I was saying in the emails or afterwards wasn't igniting a fire under them to take the next action step. So that was a big thing that I had to learn for myself. And then second thing, when it comes to that part of like the guarantee of not knowing, a lot of my clients, they start out with Instagram ads doing $5 a day, literally less than like a Starbucks latte a day. If you can do that to take out your normal Starbucks order for a month, you can see what you can actually get. It doesn't have to be anything, take out, $100,000 or something crazy. It can be something as simple as $5 a day, just to understand, one, who's your target audience, who's actually liking what you want to go for, and optimize from there. Because I find with ads, you have to have a strategy always. Like, if you're a business owner, you have to have a strategy for like everything. But second off, you don't have to put in your life savings for it to get some actual money or results back.
Love this, because that's even a lower amount than I typically say, which is I typically say 10, but it's all relative, right? If you can only do 5, what she's saying is no, you can test with 5, which is great to hear.
Yeah, and that's a big thing. And I think $10 is always a great way to start. Obviously, the more money you put in, the higher chance you'll get money back. Like, that's always a big thing. The more people it'll
like
be shown.
The dollar slots versus the penny slots in Vegas.
Exactly. And that's the big thing, is that when it comes to the money you put in, it'll be able to be seen by more people, you get better results and so forth. But the thing is, you can do $5 a day and still be able to see results. I did one recently, I think for like 2 weeks, and I got around 44 leads at $1 a lead, which means like I got a new person for $1, literally $1 a new person. And was with a $5 a day ad.
That's incredible, girl.
Yeah. And that's the thing. It can be that easy, but the biggest thing is that strategy piece behind it of knowing, one, what you want your ad to do, 2, where your people are at to use that ad for them, and 3, how to get them to take action once they see and click on your ad. Like, you have to have all those things in place to make sure that it kind of cohesively works.
So let's go down the path. I always love embodying my listeners. Most of my listeners have a coaching element to their business, or a teaching element, or an element that involves them in person. So maybe they want where it involves a call, right? So your higher ticket items, you generally have some form of a sales call where people put all sorts of fun marketing language around it, right? Like discovery call, which gives me a rash, but mine's a goal mine's a goal assessment call. But really, at the end of the day, I mean, it's a sales call. So whether it's filling a mastermind, a retreat, group coaching, some kind of a seminar, or even your one-on-one. So this is what I want us to focus on first, is being able, which is your expertise, being able to use Facebook and Instagram ads to drive people to fill up your actual like appointment spots. Not just get their email, but like where you start seeing, your slots and your Calendly or whatever platform you use, start filling up with real people, all from ads. So tell us about this.
Yeah. So I kind of talk about this, and I have it called, which is obviously rightly named, the client generator method. And I have this kind of broken down into 3 stages. So the first stage is positioning yourself as a paid expert. Second one is going to be attracting your ideal leads, and third is going to be converting them into clients. So inside of those 3, you really have to make sure, like you said, your goals are in place. Like, you actually know, this is the biggest thing I see so many people come to me for. They say they want to grow their audience, their brand, their clients, their sales, like so many things. And you really have to ask yourself, and I love this question, is, in the next 30 to 60 days, what is one goal that if you achieved it, you jump up and down and be so excited for? Whatever that goal is, that's going to be what your ad is around. Because it doesn't matter if you get more followers. It doesn't always equate to sales. It doesn't matter. Even Tiffany's shaking her head because it's true. So it's make sure that, first of all, you know your goal. After that, you have to make sure you know where your audience is. And inside of this client generator method, I have this in the converting part, which I love to call the GOAT framework, literally like a goat. And it's broken down into 4 ways. It's called graphic, offer, audience, and text.
Okay.
So we start out with graphic. Obviously, graphic is the ad itself, is how it looks, what it says on there, and so forth. The one thing I love about Instagram ads, you can do feed ads or story ads. With story ads, you don't need any copy. Like a lot of people who do Facebook ads or feed ads, you have to have the copy before the graphic. For this, you don't. You just need like one line of text on that graphic and you're good to go, which I love.
Like when you see like, you know, someone's picture and they're smiling and then there's like a little bar of text that says like, you know, free webinar or something like that. Is that what you mean?
Yeah, okay. Exactly like that. Yeah. And that way too, it's a lot easier for people who are just starting with it to not have to worry about like, oh my gosh, I have to write this whole post, you know, or something like that. A lot of people are really deterred from doing ads because it seems like a lot of work from the ads manager, but also a lot of work for the creative part because people don't feel like they're engaging enough or salesy enough to put it into a good post. So graphics a big one. Second thing is offer. Now, offer, a lot of people think is you're going to be your paid offer, but what I actually mean is your free one. So for a lot of you who are doing calls, usually it can be split up into, you know, a couple different things. You can do some type of like, you know, video training. You can do some type of graphic quiz. You know, it can be literally anything that you want to do. The biggest thing when it comes to this offer piece that a lot of people forget, which is why their ad might deter or not have as many people, the offer you're creating, the like lead magnet, the freebie, has to be giving them two things: either solving a problem of them, good Lord, my grammar, problem of theirs, and then also giving them a quick win strategy, a quick win that they see you as someone who can actually solve their problem. And what happens, a lot of people will do quizzes or they'll do PDFs where they give a lot of tips, which is great. But think about it. How many people who've given you PDFs or videos on tips do you actually think, oh, right, they're good, I'm going to book a call with them right now? Usually you're just like, these are great tips. I'm going to leave now. Yeah.
The only people that have ever gotten me where it was like, holy crap, that's so helpful. I can't believe they gave that for free.
Exactly. And that's what the offer should be around, because you need to give something, even if they're in your warm audience, even if they know you and like you and love you, they still have to see you as someone who they're willing to pay money for. This is like, it's all about priming them to want to work with you, priming them to say yes. So having that offer be something super juicy, which I call like the irresistible opt-in, around giving them a quick win to a problem that they have that they need solving. Obviously, if you're a health coach, you're not going to say like the solution to weight loss, but it can be some type of micro problem. Let's say how to stop overeating or binge eating. That could be something you can control and could be a little bit easier to explain in a PDF or video training that can give them some type of results.
Can you give an example of, as you called it, a solving a problem and a quick win for people that have, I mean, we all know niching gets us rich, but for people who, you know, are a little more broad, like they are life coaches or business coaches?
I literally have a student right now in my course who's a life coach. This is great because I was helping her with this last week. So she had the same thing. You know, I asked her, I'm like, what's one big problem that your clients have? And she's like, I honestly don't know. I work with so many people. So if you say that, then the next question is going to be, what is the first or second exercise that you do with your clients that you can help them go through without already being a client? So for example, some people like do goal assessments. They'll actually go into deeper goals, finding their obstacles. Sometimes it's going to be an exercise that they actually did later down the road that was working with them that was like, oh my gosh, this was absolutely amazing. So if it comes to you don't know what the problem is, you can create an actual offer around an exercise that your clients have done before that they're like, this is the best thing ever. So for my girl, she was a life coach, and she's like, you know, a lot of people come to me and they, you know, really find a lot of clarity. It's like, awesome, clarity is great. What is one of the biggest exercises that helps them to get the most clarity? And she found for her, it was going into kind of like a goal assessment of sort, you know, what is the area in life right now that you feel that's kind of going the most insane? And she gives symptoms, goes into what are the words you describe for it, the obstacles you're going around it, and then what's one action step you can take there, your accountability date, and then I think one other step, and say, awesome, now you have all this, you have your game plan. Do you want to go even deeper into accountability and see how we can go into this? Awesome, book a call.
So it's like, I'm giving you, you know, a clarity system, basically. So the obstacle, you guys, the problem is, you know, I'm confused, I'm multi-passionate, I'm a spasm all over the place, which is like 90% of you listening. Love you guys. And then the solution is a clarity exercise that gets you clear. And like, now that you're clear, you want to go further, book a call.
Exactly, because so many people go into it and they'll give too much too quick. Like I have another student of mine who's in it who is a website designer and like SEO person, and she had this struggle between how do I not give so much? And that's kind of why I like to limit it to an exercise or like one quick problem that you can help solve, because that way you're not giving too much, but also you're not overwhelming them. Their first reaction with you is not, "Oh my gosh, this is crazy amount." It's, "Oh my gosh, this was amazing and helped me."
And
Because
simple sells, complexity repels. You guys hear me say
yes.
that all the time. So I know you're overgivers because like attracts like. I have to hold myself back too. And it's like when you overgive, now you're making it like a fire hose on these people. It actually doesn't help them. It like puts them into paralysis and they don't do it anyway.
Yeah, it's kind of like if we want to go, I love doing really random metaphors to really sink it in better. So we'll go
Oh
off.
my God. You have
So,
no idea how much I love this. Okay, go ahead.
so we'll go off the water hose thing. This is going to be a great one for this. So you got to think about it this way. Let's say it's a hot August day in the morning or even in the afternoon, you're like sweating and you want to cool off. So either you can cool off with a nice sprinkler or slip and slide where it's very gentle and easy, or you can get a fire hose and waterboard yourself. That's going to be the overgiving. You're accidentally overboarding your people or waterboarding. Stop waterboarding your people.
Oh my God. I love it. Okay. So now you have in the ad, basically, you are you're targeting like the problem that they have in the ad, and you're basically sharing in the ad for the solution, right? Basically, click here, learn more, give us your name and email, right?
Yeah, and that's going to be going into, because again, with the GOAT framework, we were going over the graphic, the offer, and then there's the audience. So the audience for a lot of people is going to be breaking down into either warm, cold, or hot. And again, that just depends on how used to they are to you. So cold's obviously people who'd never met you before. People who are warm have like at least engaged with your profile once or twice, or they're even as deep as, DMing you all day, like replying to every single Instagram story of yours. Like you know those people. And then there's the hot. Hot people are usually those who are already clients or those who are about to say yes. So whenever I'm doing Instagram ads, I always say start with the warm audience, because it's the warm or hot, because it's the easiest way to get them to actually say yes, because they already know you. Cold's great for obviously building up more of your audience, but it takes a longer time to convert. So when asking the question of, what to do next, it depends on who you're targeting, because for cold audiences, they need more help kind of nurturing them, like massaging the leaves in a salad to help break it up more, versus warm, you can kind of go in a little bit deeper, a little more quicker to the call part. So for those who are wanting to do this for, let's say, people who've already been your audience for a bit, but they haven't actually booked with you, this is a really great piece, because you can say, hey, I've given you this amazing exercise. And like you said, the next step is to book a call, because you're not actually pitching anything yet. You're just showing them and positioning your call as a way for them to get more clarity, strategy, whatever your word is, that makes them feel like it's actually a gift. Because I think a lot of times right now, and I think you see this too, is people give free calls and it feels just like, I don't really need it, because you'll see discovery calls. Here's some free ones. Let's plaster it everywhere. And you have to be more strategic about your calls and see it for them as it's a gift for them to get on the phone with you. You want to make it seem like they're actually getting something out of it. They're not just going on there just to kind of give the coffee chat type of thing. So that's why I love to position that call right after that offer, because that way it seems like the solution, not just, a free call that they can kind of shoot the whatever on.
So would you say going after your warm audience in using Instagram and Facebook ads, would you say that's when you target in Facebook Business Manager, you actually target the ads to the people currently following you?
Yes, because there's something in Ads Manager, and there's so many different ways you can target people, but one of my favorites is you can actually target people who have engaged with your profile. And the really cool thing is the engagement means it could be something as someone pressed on your profile once to commenting and liking every day. So there's a strategy that I give to a lot of my students around engaging with more people who are, either in your audience or outside of your audience, just to get them to go on your profile once, and now you have them forever to target them with your ad, which is really cool, because that way you don't have to worry about having people be super dedicated or, have to make sure they see every single Instagram story. It can be just one time seeing your profile and now immediately in your warm, engaged audience.
So what is the T? We have graphic, offer, audience. What's the T in GOAT?
The T is text. So by text, I don't mean just, what's on the landing page or thank you page. I really mean actually the emails, because I think a lot of the time people will create ads and they'll create the ad, the nice opt-in page and the thank you page, but then they kind of give them the free thing and they don't have a good email sequence afterwards. And it doesn't have to be anything crazy. Like mine, I think for a lot of my students is around 5 emails, like max, but it's about creating a kind of narrative with them that shows them that you are talking to something that they have a problem with and that you're the solution. And again, this is where testimonials come in. This is where actual going into where your story is, how you're relating to them. There's so many different pieces about it. But the text is mainly about after they're on the ad with you, after they're on your list, how to get them through words that you're saying to book a call with you. Let's say they haven't done it right after the ad. This way you can still nurture it more and more again, massage it more and more and more, so they actually book the call at the end, because I've had a lot of people who've gotten the call after that.
Now, would you say in this email sequence, right, they signed up for the free thing through the Facebook or Instagram ad. Now, obviously after well, I shouldn't say obviously, some of you guys listening don't know or new to this space, so I apologize for that. So then after, the person gives a name in the email, there needs to be a triggered, what you call in the industry, like an autoresponder, oh, congrats. Thanks for, you guys can test mine on ProjectME with Tiffany. Go there, because I have a free financial guide for you guys, like a free money guide, wealth building guide, and you'll see what happens. So then right after, it's like, I probably say something like, congratulations on taking action, like for yourself and learning more about money, because that's how you make more money, is learning shit about money. So probably says something like that in my language with swear words.
Yeah, exactly.
And so that's like the autoresponder. But then what I notice, myself included, okay, is that after that is when most people die off. Is because now it sounds so overwhelming when you say, at least, 5 email in a sequence where you're massaging this, this person. Are you saying that goes out like once a week?
This one's usually done within, all 5 emails will be done within 2 weeks. Usually it depends, like the first 3 are usually done within the first week, the last 2 are in the last week. But the biggest thing about all of this, I don't care your number of emails, I don't care about that. What we're doing in this email sequence is creating cliffhangers. So that way they actually want to actually read the next email. The problem is a lot of people will create email sequences that are just like, here's another tip, here's another story. We're actually really expanding one big story with testimonials, with tips, that each and every end of an email, something like, so you want to learn more about X, Y, and Z, then get ready for the next email where we go over A, B, C, D, E. It's creating the same thing that TV shows do, which is that cliffhanger perspective that makes them want to actually read the next thing. Because the problem is people will do those email sequences that are more just like standalone emails put together that doesn't allow people to create that curiosity and that kind of like connection with you that a cliffhanger can do.
Ooh, that's an amazing tip. So that is where most people drop off, because it's like, oh my God, now I have to write on top of all the other content. If you don't have a team, which some people do, some don't, but it's like you don't have a team. And now it's like, oh my God, I have to write 5 emails with cliffhangers that, keeps these people engaged. And it's like, what do you have to say to people where it's like, oh my God, that's like so much to do? Is there any way to simplify it?
Yeah, that's basically what I do in my course. I actually have a copy paste template for this whole thing. Like the whole entire email sequence, I give them, because I find that's one of the biggest things I hear, and a lot of people's reasons for why they actually buy is they want those templates because they don't want to have to spend all day every day thinking about, what do I write in this email? What's in the second one? So I find that you really, again, it helps to have a sequence who's already written it in front of you that you can kind of just tweak for yourself. But it's really expanding on a bigger story that mixes in you and your clients. So it actually brings people in. Here's actually a great example of this. So for me, yesterday, actually, I celebrated my 3-year anniversary with my boyfriend at this time. And we went to the Space Center and they had a planetarium. I don't know why I love planetariums so much. They're so cool. It's like the visual on top of the dome. And there was 2 things that we saw. The first show email was about the tales of the Mayan culture. The second one was about the sun. So the first one actually had stories in it. It was like story from the beginning of time to the end of time. And then the second one was just about the sun. And we were most engaged, and that was a longer one. The first one was 35 minutes. I was more engaged with the tales, even though the graphics weren't that great, compared to the ones for the second one, which is just talking about the sun in general. Because the biggest thing that happens is with the first one, it was a big story put into different chapters versus the other ones, just like really a lot of facts or a lot of really boring stuff. So for you, it's going to be thinking of these emails as one big storybook with different chapters. Chapter one's the first email, chapter two's the second email, to keep them engaged, but also it's cohesive, because too many people will do the first email, is nice to meet you. Second one's like, this is my entire life story in one email. And the third one will be, here's a client testimonial. You need to make it so it's more of a book, a story of sorts. And that way it's easier for you because it's just one story. It's not like I have to have 3 separate client testimonials and 5 different, tips to give them. It's really about one story that is yours, that mixes in your positioning, which mixes in your testimonials to help them kind of create this whole thing for them that sees you as the person that's going to actually solve their problem.
Would you say that at the end of those 5 emails that there should be a call to action in each one of booking a call?
Yes, I think for the whole 5, there might be one that doesn't have the actual booking link, only because it's one, I think, around, it's like kind of similar to TV shows. I love going back to this because people understand it the most. It's kind of like a filler episode. So it's kind of like a filler email in the middle where it's giving them still value, but for a lot of people, if you put the same link over and over and over again, they're probably just going to roll their eyes. So you have to present it in a different way. So usually every single call to action on there is either for the call link itself or an explanation more so of the already like exercise given, and then go into, okay, here's an explanation of it, and then the link. So it's usually always the call to action for almost everyone, or every other one is the call link. Again, it also helps them to prime more to realize this is the next step to take with you. It's not just giving them 5 separate steps. Like I had a client of mine who, she's great. She had, she had books, she had courses, she had all these kind of things. But it's like, what do you want your person to go to most? Like, what's the next thing you want them to do? So if you keep with that same link, it's great, but you have to present it in a different way each time. So it's not so book a call with me, book a call with me, book a call with me.
Right. And you can't do like, let's say that's your, first goal, which for most of you, it should be because that's your highest ticket moneymaker, depending on where you're at in your business. Right.
Exactly.
And then if if you've already are, maxed out with one-on-ones, or you have like, wait lists like I do with private clients, then you move on to what's your other thing? Is it your signature course? Or like my example is I have a group membership, the ProjectME Posse. So that's my big focus. But I can imagine some of you are thinking, wait a second, could I use the same email sequence for all the different things over time? Aren't people going to know like those are the same exact emails I got like 2 months ago?
Yeah. So for me, the reason why I created my course is mainly around calls booked. So you can technically, like you said, use the email sequence for anything. But I find, because I work with clients one-to-one who are more of like courses, they're more of actual programs, that the sequence for that's going to be a little bit different. Because even though you're helping them create a story, you're actually wanting them to do a sale already. So the way that you're going to speak to them is differently. The way you're going to position emails is going to be different. So even though it's kind of like, what I would say, it's going from McDonald's to like a sous chef. So it's like, yeah, you can obviously copy and paste everything, but it's not going to be as effective. So you have to really understand, like, yes, you can do this for programs, the same sequence that I give in my course. But for a lot of you who are wanting to do courses or programs, people need more information. They need more things to say yes. Like for a call, it's a little easier thing because it's not as much skin in the game. But to go straight into a course or program, it's going to be needing a little more time with you and a little more kind of, like you said, the massaging, the nurturing, and so forth. So I find that for the emails that's inside of there, yes, you can use it. But I find for a lot of people, the actual launch sequence for courses and stuff is a little bit different because it has to be. You're not just going on they're not just going to be booking another call, another free thing. It's going to an actual paid thing.
Right. If you guys are loving so far this episode and you're getting a lot out of it, take a quick screenshot right now, share it on social media, tag at ProjectME with Tiffany, also tag at Danielle.Clem. So she's at DANNIELLE.KLEMM. If you're driving, you're multitasking, you forget, just tag me. I'll make sure when I reshare it, I will tag her. So at ProjectME with Tiffany. And we just like to know. And then this way, if you have questions or anything like that, Danielle can see, okay, this person listened to the episode, and you can DM her with a question and she'll know, like, you already listened to the episode, you're engaged, and, she'll help you out from there. All right. So is there any case, in your professional opinion, that you can run Facebook, Instagram ads direct to selling something? So direct to selling something, that's inexpensive. Maybe it's a $97 mini course. Maybe it's a book. Is there any case where it's okay to go ad right to buying the shit?
Yeah, I find, so there's something called what's called a tripwire. And a tripwire is something that's kind of given right after they say thank you for the free stuff. Usually for a tripwire, it's just a minimal offer that's, around, let's say $7 to $47 or even $67. It can be a little bit more or less, just to give people more skin in the game, again, to connect with you more. That could also upsell them into a program later. So 100%, you can have your ad that goes to something like right after the freebie. You can have it to where the ad goes straight to the product part. A lot of people do that for launches, but obviously you have a lot more than just going straight to the product at first for a launch. So for a lot of you, if you're wanting to do that, I recommend kind of like the tripwire approach, which is where you still have that free offer, but on the thank you page, instead of having book a call, you have a thank you page that kind of gives them, okay, it's going to your inbox. Now while you wait, here's a special one-time offer that you can get X, Y, and Z for $27. And that way, a lot of people use tripwires as a way to actually cover their ad costs too, because a lot of people just like put that money back into their ad costs, so at least they're making back what they want. But for you, I would say it depends on, again, what your goal is, who your audience is, and what their current problem is when it comes to how much they're willing to pay for that. So it kind of goes in a little bit deeper, but in the general sense, yes, you can.
Like, for example, I don't know the price point of your course, but let's just say you have a mini version of that. I don't know if this is true, you guys. So don't hound her and be like, where's that $129 course Tiffany said? So let's just say you have, where it's covering one main area, and it's a $129 course. Would you, with your own stuff, the fact that you are extremely niched, right? Like you're way more niche than I am even. So with that, wouldn't it make sense to go after your warm audience, meaning the people who follow you on social media, who already are wanting to know more about Instagram and Facebook ads, and doing an ad right to like a kick-ass, highly engaging sales page, and then selling the $129 mini course and adding maybe, a couple bonuses? I've seen this done successfully. So I'm wondering if you feel that you would even do that approach yourself.
Yeah. So again, for me, it always depends on the audience I'm targeting and the problem in relation to how much they're willing to pay for it. So for those who are doing $129, or for those, even for myself, because I've done tripwires before where I've done like a $17 mini course and gotten sales, a couple sales every week from it. And that was totally great and so forth. The problem was that I found was sometimes, again, that drop off would be a little bit lower. So for a lot of you, the reason why I talk more about calls than courses is because for a good amount of you, you might be under the 10K a month mark or like 15K a month mark. So the easiest way for you to make more money is going to be those one-to-one calls, those like high ticket sales. So for those who are doing that, stick with calls. But for those who actually are willing to be able to expand more in their product suite, I would say you definitely can. The only thing is you have to make sure, one, your offer is tested. Like, for sure people who are in your audience have wanted this forever. And second is that the language you're using on the sales page and on the email sequence is either what they're using, what they're thinking, or what they're wanting to do. Because when you have those, it's definitely easier to have a higher conversion rate, but it just has to make sure that you kind of have those pieces into play when you do stuff that's more like direct to sale or direct to purchase.
This is so awesome, you guys. She knows her shit. Like, officially, Tiff Carter approved. And this is that's probably only the fourth time I've ever said that, by the way.
Oh,
no offense to those who I didn't say that to, but I have to be really impressed to say it. So
I'm honored. I appreciate it.
You get the stamp. So there are a lot of listeners who, want to start a podcast or who already have a podcast. They really love writing. So they have a blog. Maybe they monetize it a little bit, but they're really proud of it. Would you recommend using Instagram or Facebook ads just to bring more readers to their blog and more listeners to their podcast, but like not giving a freebie or anything, because the freebie is the content on the blog or the podcast, and then not collecting an email for it, just like pure visibility? Is that even worth it?
Yeah, so I find that for those type of things, because with ads, you can do ones that are called traffic ads, or you can have people, again, it's mainly directed to get you more traffic on your website or like pages and so forth. So you definitely can use that. I find for people who are going to want to do traffic ads, that instead of going for a full-fledged ad, you could do something like I don't like to call it promoted post or a boosted post, but it's something where it's just like using your post in general and having it one of your, let's say, your most popular ones or most popular blog posts, putting that on your Facebook page and putting money towards that. Because that way it'll take people to the link of your website without you having to go straight into $5. Because the ones that are more post-like, they look like actual posts on your Facebook page or Instagram, sometimes are easier for traffic. But again, they definitely can work. I've had people do them. It's mainly around, honestly, what your budget is. Because for a lot of people who are doing ads, traffic's going to be good and you can always retarget them later. But for a lot of you, you might not want to be putting $5 a day to it if you're not going to get the return back immediately or like, in a couple days or a couple weeks. So yes, for sure, but also money.
Right. And that's the thing is, it is so individual because it depends on your goals. It depends on your palette for risk and your level of patience. I mean, you have to understand, like, even if you look at, big corporations like my other company, TLC Enterprises works with, we do tons and tons of, Facebook and Instagram ads for them. And they have major, major budgets, you guys. I'm talking $100,000 a year, $250K a year just on social media ads. And they find it worth it for just the visibility and not even getting an email or a name. But you have to be at a certain level where you have the palate for that, where you're not like, oh my God, I'm paying money just for people to see my name or the name of my blog and I'm not making $1. Like,
yeah,
but
exactly.
Entrepreneurship is for the long game. I mean, you have to have, would you say, like, as far as like feelings wise and emotions to be successful with Facebook ads, would you say it's like patience and setting expectations is like king?
Oh, 100%. And I think the same thing is true with organic as well, because too many people go into it or they'll see, the amazing client results people get for people, which is also amazing. But they'll go into, let's say, they're going to start Instagram or they're going to start Facebook or they'll do Facebook ads and they've seen all the amazing results from it and think, okay, yeah, within 24 hours, I'm going to get, 5 calls booked and these type of things, which sure, if you're an anomaly, which for a lot of people, they could be. But so much of ads is going to be around making sure your strategy is correct, tweaking it from there and seeing the results happen. Because again, ads are testing. Same thing with like Instagram. When it comes to organic posts, you're testing, does this post work well? Does this topic work well? So people forget that you have to treat it same thing how you would any other like strategy is around testing and making sure that you know what you're looking at. Because if not, you're going to get caught in vanity metrics, or same thing with organic, you're going to get caught in the likes and, the vanity stuff that don't matter.
Oh, yeah. And let me tell you, if you haven't been inside Facebook Ad Manager, there's a lot of metrics in there that can make you feel really good about the money you spent. But if you haven't made shit, it doesn't really matter, does it?
100%. And that's why, like, when it comes to what I teach my students to, I kind of go into a couple, I think it's like around 5 or so metrics that actually matter, because there's, for those who, like she said, has never been in there, there's like at least 30 or 40 different metrics you can look at. But really, for a lot of you out there, you only need to look at 5. It's kind of like when you go into Instagram, the insight or analytics, you can look at the posts, the audience, the activity, when really all you want to look for is actually the engagement or like the impressions. Like you have to kind of see they're giving you all this information for people like Tiffany who work with companies who have hundred thousands of dollars to do, who could need to look at those metrics. But for you right now, you probably need to look at 3 to 5 that actually matter around how's ad doing, how can we tweak it, and which numbers will show what we need to tweak.
I have another question that a ton of people asked is, should I be using video in my ads versus still graphics or photos?
Yeah, so I find that one depends on the audience you're targeting, because if you're targeting a cold audience, they have no idea who you are, like literally not whatsoever. So putting your face on something, it might be good for a second, like they see it and they think, oh, it's a person. But outside of that, there might not be as higher of conversions for cold. When it comes to warm, yes, doing videos for warm is going to be great because they already know you. They've seen your face. They connect with it. So I find video is always a great way to go, but depends on which audience you're going for, because I'd rather have my face be for those who are actually going to see it, recognize it, and watch all the way through than someone who's going to see it who doesn't know who I am and just say, oh, she's cute and blonde, but I don't really care what she's saying, so I'm going to scroll past. So that's why it kind of depends on who you're targeting, the audience wise. Are they cold, warm, or hot? Because that's going to kind of depend on what you use. I always say if you start out with a graphic, you'll probably be fine no matter which one you use, because as long as you're putting on a graphic what they actually want, like the free webinar to 10K months, they care more about the 10K months than they care about your face.
Right.
So that's very true for cold audience. They don't care about your face at all. They care about what you can give them right now. So again, depends on who you're targeting, but for sure, yes, videos are great.
Awesome. Another question that I got, and actually 11 people, and this is what she means by, looking at stats and facts. I wasn't going to sit here and ask her every single question that people sent. Yeah. So we picked the ones, and then, well, let me be honest, I didn't do it, but I had someone do it for me. And then they put how many next to it. So 11 people asked this. They want to know, how do I know if I'm ready to use Facebook or Instagram ads?
Such a good question, because I literally created a podcast episode series called, the first episode is, how do I know if it's time for me to do ads?
Well, there you go.
Because I get that question a lot. It's very common, and I totally understand it, because you're very weary of, what you want to spend your money on, what you want it to go towards, and so forth. So for you, it's going to depend on a couple different variables. I mean, first is always your budget. Do you have enough money right now to be able to put $5 a day or $10 a day to it? If yes or no, that's going to depend on what you can do. Second thing is, do you have an offer right now? Not when it comes to like the actual free stuff, but the paid stuff that is actually solving a problem, like your problem that your ideal client wants, yes or no. And then the third, there's a couple more, but the third biggest one for this too is, do you know your ideal client from a space of what they actually want, what they're saying, and what they actually want to see as a solution? Because I've had it before, people come to me and they tell me what their ideal client is, and it's what I call, it's like being the mayor of Vagueville. You're literally doing nothing. You're like, right, I want to target women who are entrepreneurs. That's awesome, but you're not going to be able to get as good results.
No, you're not. Again, if you don't niche, you're not going to get rich. Basically, if you don't come and learn from me first and really do all the exercises I teach about niching, then you should not go to the Facebook, Instagram ads level, because the last thing Danielle and I would want to see is you guys pouring money down the drain.
1,000%. Like you said, when people come to me, I'm not afraid to say it's not the right time for you. I've actually told someone 2 weeks ago that, and for her, her journey, she thinks that she can still do them on her own with having a really big audience, which, yikes. But, I tried my best to make sure that when I say it, it's coming out of this place of caring for you. Like, I don't want to make you guys spend money or making you feel like you have to do them now. I want it to be at the right time for you, where you don't have to feel like you're in scarcity mode. And then also in a place that's going to get you results, because too many people go into them where they don't have the right strategy, but even know how to do them in general. And because of that, they're not going to be able to see the results they want. And then, you're out, $100 or something.
Wow. I mean, this has been So informative. Again, you guys take a screenshot and share it right freaking now. Share this magic and tag me at ProjectME with Tiffany. Tag at Danielle.Clem. If you're multitasking, if you are sneaking with one earbud at your day job while listening, I know who you are. I would have totally freaking done the same. I used to take like 800 bathroom breaks. Does anyone do that? I'd be like, I need another tea. It's like, I needed to get the fuck out of there. Anyway, take a screenshot, share the magic. So let us know, Danielle, like how you talked about your client generator method and your course. So I know there's people like, oh my God, I need to learn all the things. How can they get this?
Yeah. So right now I'm doing a free training called How to Get Consistent Client Leads with Spending Less than $5 a Day with Instagram ads. Very straight to the point. And for them, they can find that at bit.ly/free IG training, where you can sign up and be able to learn more about my client generator method, learn more about the GOAT framework, the 3 mistakes so many people do with ads that if you want to do ads, please watch this. And from there too, you'll learn more about the course at the end. But even with that, you can leave within the first part of it and get so much out of it. Because if you've heard this from Tiffany, this is just like a slice of what I teach in there. So you're going to want to make sure you watch the training. And the course itself is called Instagram Ads That Convert. Again, I'm always about that. I love simplicity. I love just telling you guys straight to the point. And that's where I teach a lot of people who are service providers, coaches, consultants, anyone who wants to get more calls booked, the exact way to use one ad with $5 a day to get that, so you can double your client's book without spending more time or more money online.
Awesome. I mean, you guys, that's her free training. There you go. There's an example of creating a lead magnet that is so filled with value and is so helpful that keeps you engaged. So she's showing you, she's practicing what she just taught all of you. So go look at it in that way, at her training, but also go take it. First off, I know her 3 mistakes are going to be legit. And I didn't ask her that question on purpose because I would rather you get it from her free training, because I guarantee you're making one of them, or you've thought about it and you were about to make one of them. And we don't want that.
100% agree. When you go through that, let me know which one of 3 you make, because I can guarantee, just like Tiffany said, you're in one of those 3 or maybe all 3.
Oh my God. I've been doing Facebook ads since the beginning. I've made them all, but here's the catch. It wasn't with my money I lost, so it didn't hurt as bad. But I have made them all, like really bad ones where I'm like, this is a winner. Oh my God. My text is right. The image is so like evoking, and it didn't do shit. And then another ad that like kind of almost like slapped together was like the highest performing ad. So weird, but it's all a gamble, isn't it?
It definitely can be, especially for those that are, like you said, you have more things to play around with. You have that time to be able to test more, which is why for those who don't have as much, let's say, plain money to do, you have to make sure what you're actually using it for is something that's at least mostly guaranteed to ensure your success.
Yes, there's a buffer, but there's still no guarantee in any advertising. If there was, all the major companies out there would stop all TV advertising, all their print advertising, and put up their 100% ad budget just into Facebook and Instagram. If there was a guarantee, there's just not with any of it. Right.
And I think the biggest thing too, which is going to be great for this, there's no guarantee in entrepreneurship too. So it's like you have to make sure what you're doing is going to be something that you feel comfortable in, but also that no matter what you do, whether it's organic, whether it's shouting on a rooftop, nothing's guaranteed when it comes to your success. But you have to be certain in yourself and know that at least the strategies you're doing is going to help you get there in the shortest amount of time that it can be with the least amount of risk you can take.
Exactly. You want to mitigate the risk, and that is the entire goal of this episode, is to give you the absolute best chances of succeeding with Facebook and Instagram ads. That's like our entire goal here. Well, thank you for coming on. You're such a wealth of knowledge. Again, she is Tiff Carter approved, guys. Go hit her up on the gram at Danielle.Clem, DANNIELLE .KLEMM. And if for some reason you can't write that down, you won't remember it, you can always DM me at ProjectME TV, and I will make sure I give you her handle so you can go say hi, ask her a question, all the things. Thanks so much for coming on.
Thank you.
If you enjoyed this podcast, please write a 5-star review on iTunes. Not only will this make me super happy, but it will allow more listeners to find our special show. Simply help me help others.